Hi everyone, John Cunningham-Ryan, Senior Library Assistant with the Wexford Library Services, and I'm here to bring you another book review today. But before I get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about one of my favourite authors, who is Stephen King. That's obviously who I'm going to be reviewing now in a couple of minutes. And I just want to talk a little bit about the different styles. So for veteran readers of Stephen King, so people like me who are ancient and have been reading him for years and years and years, or for maybe people who have recently come upon his books because of the more recent movie releases perhaps, there is definitely a perceived idea that there is an old school King and his newer style stuff. And whilst both of these styles are valid, there's actually not one of the styles which I prefer over the other. Now some people will only read one or the other, but I just want to delve into that idea a little bit more, okay? So when you think of old school Stephen King, you know, you're thinking about Carrie, The Shining, all those books, and in particular It and The Stand. Now these books are wandering books. There's a huge amount of content in them. If you think about it, It has over 1,000 pages, The Stand has 1,400 pages. There's just a huge amount in these books for you to bury yourself into. The minutiae, every detail about the characters and the places they are and the circumstances and what has made them the people they are today, where they are going, whatever dark place it is or whatever, you know, there's just a huge amount of grit and just stuff in them, and that's fantastic. And if you want to lose yourself in a Stephen King world or creation, his old style is really, really good for that, okay? However, his new style is, to me, I think, a little bit more economical. So, for example, if you think of 11/22/63, this is one of his more recent publications. Now, by no means is it a small book, it's still over 700 pages long. But I think King's style, newer style, is a little bit more economical, perhaps. Economical, I think, is a bad word. Let me see. I think they're more sculpted. He just gets there a little bit quicker, but with no less ability, or you're not felt wanting in any way as you read them. But it's more refined. I think that's the best way to describe it. You know, and this is normal if you think about it. Any artist or craft person who is honing their skills and their art for 50 years, 60 years, you know, they get better at what they do, and they also change what they're doing. Like an artist a painter doesn't just paint the one thing and the one style all his lifetime. The same with a musician or a composer. So they change and evolve, and Stephen King has done that as well, and I think he's done it really well. So to discount one style or the other, I think, is wrong to do. I think you should give both styles a go. But however, I'm going to park that to one side for now. I could talk about his style and the different genres that he writes in, and I will do that at another stage. But I want to get back to what I'm here today to talk about, and that is I'm going to give you a review of one of his more recent publications, and that is The Institute. So, to get to the plot of The Institute. In The Institute there are a group of children that have special powers. They have telepathy, telekinesis, precognition. And this is a common theme that Stephen King has used. We have The Shining, we had Danny Torrance, he could shine, or I suppose commune with ghosts, a bit like The Sixth Sense, I see dead people. We had Firestarter, where a young girl had the power of pyrokinesis. She could set things on fire. That was a book written in the 1980s. And now we have The Institute. So yes, it is a common theme, and some people are kind of giving out about that. It's like, oh, King is getting lazy and he's using other stuff he's used before. But I actually don't think that's accurate, because at the end of the day, he has created these worlds. He's allowed to use them. They are his to use. So, as in a Firestarter, there was a shady government agency called The Shop, who kidnapped the girl and were training her for their own needs as such. The very same thing is going on in The Institute. So Luke Ellis is kidnapped, his family is murdered, and he's chucked into The Institute. The Institute is a shady government organisation that has a front half and a back half to its building. So in the front half, all the children are chucked in there, and they are experimented on in many different ways. They're pushed mentally and physically to see what powers they can develop. And this part of the book is actually very much old school Stephen King. There's some fairly brutal scenes of basic torture. Can you see the Stasi lights and all this sort of stuff? But it's still really, really good, you know. So then the kids they get promoted, or they graduate to the back half, and this is when they have their powers developed. And in the back half, they start, I suppose, basically being undercover agents or terrorists, or whatever you want to call them. But the Institute, using the precogs, find people who could potentially be dangerous or could potentially do bad things, and they get the kids to kill them. So we've got a little bit of a moral discussion going on here as well. We've actually got two moral discussions going on at the same time. We have one along the lines of, should we be killing bad people before they do the bad things, kind of like, you know, go back in time and sort of kill Hitler. And then obviously we have the moral dilemma of using children in war, and obviously we know what's happening all around the world. So King there is bringing up two, I suppose, interesting topics. Okay, now, of course, in Stephen King's style, Luke Ellis has amazing powers. So he manages to escape, and then he gets some help, and then he goes back to the Institute, and he gathers his friends, and he boosts all their power, and he creates revolution within the Institute. So I'm not going to go any further with the plot. I don't want to give it away, but it is an absolutely fantastic book. And a bit like I was talking earlier on about old and new style Stephen King, there's actually both in this book, because you have the gritty rawness of the children being basically experimented on and tortured, and that's kind of old school Stephen King horror. And then you have his new style, where it's just really well written and really well sculpted and just refined. It's an absolutely fantastic book, and it's probably one of my favourite King books, I'd say, for about the last 10 years, and that's very high praise. So I have no problem whatsoever giving the Institute a rating of 10 out of 10. So get your hands on it as quickly as you can. Your local library have copies of it, so when your library opens up you can get them, or go down to your local bookshop or get it somehow. As I say, one of the best King books in certainly the last 10 years. Please get it and get it. If you've read the book, or if you like my review, please comment below, and don't forget to share my videos as well. Thank you very much. I have been John Ryan for the Wexford Library Services. Goodbye.